In today's video, we'll be talking about Kamaru Usman calling out Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Justin Gaethje's response to Conor McGregor, Joe Rogan getting cancelled for making a huge blunder during an interview, and Jan Blachowicz getting robbed against Alex Pereira. The ex-welterweight champ Usman is hungry to climb back to the top after that tough loss to Leon Edwards. He's looking for a big-name opponent to boost his chances. Unfortunately, the fight with Borz isn't happening, so now he's eyeing Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He recently told TMZ Sports that he's really eager to fight Wonderboy because, among all the welterweight fighters out there, Wonderboy is the one that makes the most sense as an opponent. Both these guys dream of becoming UFC welterweight champs and have loads of fans rooting for them to face off. Thompson's like a sniper with his super precise strikes and speed, while Usman got incredible wrestling skills and a killer striking game too. Fans went crazy on Instagram, sharing their thoughts. Some doubted Usman, saying everyone in the division could beat him now that he lost once. Others teased him, saying he was picking opponents he knows he can beat, just like Jake Paul in boxing. And you know there's always that one guy who predicts a head kick knockout win for Wonderboy. However, another thing Kamaru talked about during the interview was his speculated fight with Chimaev. He felt the Chechen fighter was overestimating himself in the welterweight division. Kamaru expected Khamzat to make weight and fight him at 170 because he's ranked number 1 and Khamzat number 3, despite fighting only one top-ranked guy since joining the UFC. However, Khamzat felt the former champion and future Hall of Famer needed to go up to 185 to meet Khamzat there for a fight. During the interview, he made a comment regarding that by saying,
"He's been in the UFC, 2 years? 2 years now? The former champion at this weight, that's number 1 ranked in the world at that weight, that I need to move up to middleweight to fight you. Who are you? Who are you?"
But at the end of the day, the Nigerian Nightmare's future opponent is uncertain while Khamzat Chimaev will be facing Paulo Costa at Abu Dhabi in October 2023. Man, Joe Rogan had a roller coaster of a day at UFC 291. You know, he's a legend in the world of combat sports, but things got a bit rocky for him during the event. First, in the Roman Kopylov vs Claudio Ribeiro fight, he slipped up and forgot a basic stat about Kopylov. Fans weren't happy about that at all. But before that, there was another incident that really got Joe worked up. It was during the preliminary card fight between Jake Matthews and Darius Flowers. Matthews landed a clean high kick on Flowers, but Darius exaggerated the impact, acting like it was a low blow. The referee had to pause the fight, giving Flowers a chance to recover. The replay clearly showed it was a legal strike, and the crowd was furious with Flowers' antics. Joe Rogan saw through the act and called it out, saying, "This is clearly a legal blow from our perspective." Props to him for standing up for what's right. Then came the Kopylov vs Ribeiro fight, and after Kopylov's impressive win, Rogan interviewed him. Kopylov expressed his gratitude to Dana White and the matchmakers and revealed his desire to fight Sean Strickland next. Thereafter, Rogan said, "So you would like to go up to 185 pounds? You're 185 right now. So, that would be a fantastic fight." However, Sean is very high in the rankings and up for a title shot. This momentary lapse in messing up the weight of the already 185-pound Kopylov did not sit well with fans. As soon as the video of the interview hit YouTube, through the UFC's official channel, MMA fans couldn't hide their disappointment with the commentator. Joe Rogan not only forgot the weight category of the fighter he was interviewing but also seemed to brush off his call out. It's really frustrating to see Rogan make these mistakes, and some fans are even saying he should be fired for it. The interview wasn't so formal, but it's still embarrassing to forget that the 185 fighter actually fights at 185. And it's not the first time this has happened. One fan pointed out that Rogan did the same thing with Jan Blachowicz. Despite this, the fights themselves were keeping the fans entertained. And with the BMF title up for grabs, all eyes were on the octagon for the main event. However, fans don't usually expect these slips from Rogan. After his victory over Dustin Poirier at UFC 291, Gaethje responded to McGregor's recent tweet predicting a one-shot knockout win if they ever cross paths in the cage. Gaethje didn't seem too bothered by McGregor's call-out, mentioning previous instances where McGregor allegedly declined the fight and raised concerns about steroid use. However, Gaethje did admit that McGregor was the perfect target for him when he was on a mission to claim the lightweight gold and climb the UFC ranks. But things have changed now, with McGregor currently on the sidelines and coaching the Ultimate Fighter 31 against Michael Chandler. There was a drug testing deadline for McGregor to participate in UFC 296 at the end of the year, but it passed without him committing to a fight, leaving the MMA world uncertain about his plans to face Gaethje, the former Bellator champ. UFC President Dana White hasn't ruled out the possibility of McGregor competing later in the year, but there's no telling what his next move will be. On the other hand, Henry Cejudo, a former UFC 2 division champion, advised Gaethje to consider the financial gain of fighting McGregor over potentially facing the winner of the upcoming title rematch between champ Islam Makhachev and ex-champ Charles Oliveira at UFC 294. Cejudo argued that the payday from a McGregor fight could surpass any future earnings from winning a title. He said via his YouTube channel, "Justin, if it were me, and I had to choose between having UFC gold around my waist or making around $10 million, you bet I'd go for the $10 million. Daniel Cormier also had something to say about Gaethje being in a possible matchup with the Notorious One. He's saying that, for Gaethje, this fight doesn't quite make sense right now, you know? The man is coming off the UFC 291 gig, where he's battling for that title shot. It's like, he's aiming high, and it's either a shot at the gold or nothing. In his words, he said, "Title fight, it's title fight or bust for me." This guy needs to be able to fight for a championship because that's all he needs and that's all he wants to do. He said last time he fought against Fiziev that it was one more run at a championship opportunity. Now, that is happening. It's happening right now, the ability to fight the winner of Oliveira versus Makhachev. And I think he's better prepared for it now because when you watch him in the Fiziev fight and you watch him in the fight at UFC 291, this guy's a better version of himself. He is the #1 contender and rightfully so, he's the guy who should be challenging for the championship. If you happen to miss the main event of UFC 291, boy did you miss out on a lot. Alex Pereira, the middleweight champion, stepped up to the heavyweight division, and let me tell you, it was an intense showdown. He went head-to-head with Jan Blachowicz, the champ of the division. Both fighters brought their A-game. Pereira had to contend with Jan's grappling skills and sheer power. But guess what? Pereira didn't back down. He unleashed some punches that definitely connected. It was a nail-biter. When it came down to the judges' decision, they were divided. For Pereira, 2 of them saw him as the winner, securing a hard-fought split decision victory. Now here's where things get interesting. The fight sparked a Twitter frenzy among fighters who shared their reactions. Some of them weren't entirely convinced that Alex Pereira did enough to truly secure the win. Who do you think won that fight? Let us know in the comments section below. Make sure you check out these other videos shown on your screen right now. Thanks for watching and we'd see you next time.